say?
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever stole it, you would even see it glow. All of the reindeer used to laugh and call his name. They never let poor Rudolph 20 any reindeer good. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, I should know so, but I want you guide my sleigh tonight. Then how the reindeer loves him, it's a sad hours glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer goes down in his Bye-bye.
I don't know if everyone can hear. Can you hear this? Is this on? I don't know if everyone can hear, but as the kindergartners move around, they sound like reindeer with all the bells on their feet. Can we hear the bells? All right, very nice. Hello, Montgomery community. Welcome to our Christmas chapel. It's great to see everybody here. Good crowd to watch the kindergartners and the special presentation we have from the 8th graders coming up. Yeah. Let's start out with some holiday birthdays we have coming up, and then a couple quick announcements. So, on Sunday, the 22nd, we have kindergartner Madeline Molnar. On Monday, the 23rd, we have kindergartner Bryce Allen. On Thursday, the 26th, we have 8th grader Evelyn Lang. On Friday, the 27th, 7th grader Rory Darty. Also on Friday, the 27th, kindergartner Josephine Kosecki. On Kozeski. Thank you very much. Okay. Josephine Kozeski. On Sunday, the 29th, we have Mrs. Clay. And also on the 29th, we have Mr. Ormsby. On Monday, the 30th, Mrs. Ferkler. And then we have a New Year's baby on Wednesday, the 1st, kindergartner Logan Ott. And on Thursday, the 2nd, 3rd grader Anderson Pugh. All right, let's sing. All right. Well, we have a couple special presentations today, and I know that everyone is in a very festive mood. So we're going to have a lot of good time together, and then we'll be moving along, and we will have a 3:15 dismissal at the end of chapel. If we end a little bit early, we're still going to have our normal 3:15 dismissal. If we end a little late, we're still going to have our normal 3:15 dismissal. So parents, what that means is that we are not dismissing from classrooms today. Okay, we're going to let our students go back to their classrooms, and if they're leaving by car, they're going to go down to the normal car line. So we'd like parents to return to your cars, get into the car line, hum a holiday tune while you wait, and we'll make sure everybody gets where they're going. And we will have our buses running, our 3:15 buses as well. And then Christmas break starts at the end of the day today. And we will be back on campus on Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. All right, 2025, whole new year. All right. I want to introduce to you a special guest who I've invited to help us with our Christmas chapel today. Reverend Dr. Ali DeLeo has been the pastor at Swarthmore United Methodist Church. That's the church where Walter and I go every Sunday. She's been there since June 2022. She was ordained in the Baltimore-Washington Conference, and Pastor Ali has served in various roles, including as pastor at National United Methodist Church, the Community Faith Cooperative Parish, and chaplain at Duke Medical Center. She's also worked in mission and ministry in places like Durham, North Carolina, Indianapolis, Indiana, South Africa, and Costa Rica. At Swarthmore UMC, Pastor Ali and the worship and arts team are blending musical theater, godly play, visual arts, and ancient traditions to create vibrant new worship experiences. As a certified health minister, she leads retreats, speaks on clergy and congregational health, and explores the future of community ministry. Before entering ministry, Reverend DeLeo was an assistant professor at George Washington University with a focus on emergency care, community health, and spirituality. She holds degrees in psychology, physical therapy, and a doctorate in physical therapy with research in running biomechanics and lower extremity injuries. Allie's also trained in emergency medicine and wilderness medicine. In short, she is ready for anything. And when I asked her if she wanted to be one of this group's last things to see before 300 of you ages 5 to 14 head off to holiday merriment, she didn't bat an eye. She said yes. So it's my pleasure to welcome my friend, Pastor Allie, to the stage.
Hi, everyone. It is good to be here. Maybe make an adjustment or two. How's that? Is that a little better? Can you all hear me okay? All right, good. Well, I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited. It's your last day before break. Who's ready for break? Yes? Not you. You want to stay and do the school. Okay, well, hey. All right. So I'm here because we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas. Now, in most religions, if not all religions, there are symbols that help us tell our stories. And so sometimes the symbols are animals, like you have a school animal, right? What's your school mascot? I hear turtle, I hear heron. Heron, okay, good. And sometimes the colors that we use help us to tell the stories of our faith. And so I see a lot. What color do you all wear for your uniforms? Maroon. I see maroon. I hear blue. Right. Well. In our faith tradition, we have different colors for different parts of the year. And this time of year, I wear a lot of, what color do you have? What colors do we see here? Purple and blue. Yeah, purple and blue. And purple and blue help us to tell the story of Christmas, or at least what happens before Christmas. So we think about blue because it gets dark a little earlier this time of year, doesn't it? Yeah, we think about nighttime, and a lot of our story at Christmas happens at nighttime. And we also think about purple because purple is the color of royalty. So to tell our story today, I'm going to start with a big cloth of purple, and I'm going to build our story right up here. All right? So we start with purple because purple is the color of royalty. Only kings and queens could wear purple. In fact, in the first century, when Jesus was born, purple could only be worn by kings, queens, and citizens. You could have a little strip of purple, just a little strip. You couldn't wear a whole shirt that was purple or pants that were purple, just a little tiny strip. And so we have purple here because some of the names that Jesus has is like the King of Kings or the Prince of Peace. Those are some of the names that we use for Jesus. And so we have this color of purple. Now, the next thing we have, and you guys see this, what do we have here? What is this? A wreath, that's right. And the wreath is green. So if you guys have Christmas trees at home or if you see Christmas trees out and about, they're what's called evergreen. And that's to remind us that God's love is always there. It's evergreen. And the wreath is what shape? A circle. Now, this is a trick question. Does a circle have a beginning and an end, or does it just keep going? It just keeps going. And that tells us a little bit about God's love too. It's always there for us and it's never ending. Right? And so that's why we have a green wreath, and that's why it's shaped like a circle. So we'll put that down there. Now, there are 4 Sundays before we get to Christmas Eve. So for each of the Sundays, we have a theme. And so we have our blue candle, right? The first Sunday of Advent, we light one blue candle, and I'm going to light this candle. Fire. Everybody loves fire, right? It's just a candle. And the first candle reminds us of hope. Hope, okay? And then the second week, we light another blue candle, and that is the candle of peace. Right? So we watch hope flickering and growing. We watch peace flickering and growing. Now the third week is a little bit of a surprise. It's what color? It's a pink candle. And it's white, because my pink candle had a little problem, so I just wrapped it, a white one in pink. So this pink candle is for joy. It's a Sunday where we think about joy. And so we use a different color to help us tell that story. And then the fourth week, we have another blue candle again, and that is for love. Right? So we have hope, peace, joy, and love. And usually those go around the wreath. Now, these colors are themes, right? But they also help us to tell our Christmas story. So I'm going to take a couple of seconds and tell you this Christmas story. So on the first Sunday, we don't actually pull anything out. Because the first Sunday, we think about what has happened in the past. We think about the prophets. Now, who is a prophet? A prophet is somebody who is so close to God, and God is so close to them that they know what to do. So it's kind of like your teachers. It's kind of like your parents or your grandparents or aunts and uncles, people who are really wise, and they help you to know what to do, right? And so the first week, we think about the prophets and all the people that teach us and help us to know what to do. Right? And the second week, we start to think about Mary and Joseph. Now, Mary and Joseph were Jesus' mother and father. So this is Mary, and this is Joseph. And they had to travel from their home all the way to Bethlehem, which was far, far away. And Mary was pregnant. So it was a little bit hard for her to walk. So they had a donkey. That's right. And sometimes she rode on. Do you think it was very comfortable to ride on the donkey the whole time? No. So sometimes she rode on the donkey and sometimes she walked. So they got all the way to Bethlehem. And that's what we think about on that second Sunday of Advent. Now, the third Sunday of Advent, it gets really exciting. We start to think about the shepherds. Now, the shepherds are the people that stood out in the fields at nighttime, and they watched over the sheep. And they made sure that the sheep were safe, that the sheep didn't wander away everywhere. And one night, they were out there, and they were trying to keep the sheep all together, and they were trying to stay awake all through the night. And they heard these angels all up in the sky singing to them. And what happened? They were scared, right? Because how often do we see angels singing from the sky? Not very often, right? So these angels are singing. They said, don't be afraid. It's okay. We came to tell you about some good news that has happened. So you need to go to Bethlehem because you're going to meet this person named Joseph and Mary. You're going to meet their donkey, but you're also going to meet this baby that has been born. And his name is Jesus. And he's the one that we've been waiting for. Call him the King of Kings and the Prince of Peace. He brings us hope and joy and love and peace and all those things. And so they got all the sheep in line, and they all went down to Bethlehem. And so that's what we remember on that third Sunday of Advent. And then the fourth Sunday of Advent, it gets even more exciting. So they're all in Bethlehem. They're in this stable. There's a baby that has been born, right? And they find out that there's a star in the sky. Now, most times the stars move. If you watch the night sky, the stars move. And there were these people called Magi, and they studied the stars, kind of like astronauts a little bit. And they were studying the stars, and they were watching them all move, and they noticed there was this one star that didn't move. And it had gone across the sky, and it stopped right over Bethlehem. And they thought to themselves, now that is strange. That's very strange and different. And so we should go find out what this star is pointing to, right? So they walked all the way from the east. Do we know which way is east? I feel like it's that way. That way? I feel like it's that way. We're going to go with that way. They came so far. It took them, you know how long it took them to get there? 3 years. 3 years to get there. That was a long walk. And so they came with their camel, right? And they came and they brought gifts. And here they are, 3 kings or queens. Actually, we don't know how many there were. We say that there's 3. And we don't know whether they were kings or queens. We don't know. And we don't know how many there were. But they came and they brought gifts. And these gifts were also symbols, right? Symbols. They didn't bring like a stuffed animal or diapers or wipes or anything like that. They brought gold. They brought myrrh, which is an ointment for healing. And they brought frankincense, which smells really good. And is helpful in all sorts of other rituals and other worship services. And so they brought these gifts, and they came and they met Jesus, and that's what we remember on this 4th Sunday. Now, then we get to Easter, right? Who's missing from this whole story? Jesus, right? So here we have, and this is my little baby Jesus. He's laying in a manger, right? He's laying in a little stable. And we talk about in this story, they wrapped him up in these swaddling clothes. There wasn't a hospital or a place for him to mourn, so they went to where all the animals were. And when we tell this story, we talk about how a cow went over to get a drink of water, and he went over to where his water usually was, and there was a baby instead of his water in there, and how surprised that cow must have been when he saw that. So that's a baby Jesus. And so at Christmas, we think about this sort of unexpected story, and we try to find where we might be in this story, you know? And so some of us feel like we're the donkey sometimes. Some of us feel like maybe we're one of the stargazers, right, the magi. Some of us feel like the shepherds. Some of us feel like the sheep, right, sometimes. And we come and we try to learn what all this could mean for us. And what I love about this story is it means something a little bit different every year. But every year on Christmas Eve, we light one final candle. And it's a bigger candle than the other candles. And of course there is. I put my lighter down. So we light this candle. We call this the Christ candle. What color is this one? White. It's white. And it's taller and bigger than the others because we want us to really notice this one among all the other candles. Right? And so we have these pretty symbols and this story that is kind of a mystery, right? We don't fully understand it, but it's also kind of a miracle, and it's kind of fun. And so we tell this story, and we sing songs, and we light candles, and it's all just a magical, magical night. Now, at the end of the story, we don't want to blow the candles out, do we? We like the light, don't we? Yeah. So what we talk about, and Walter can tell you this, what we talk about is we say the light doesn't go out. We don't extinguish the light ever, because the light is in you and you and you and you and you and you. No matter what you believe, you have a light in you, and you can share hope and peace and joy and love with everybody that you meet. So what we say is we change the light. Now, are we ready to change the light? Okay. So I'm going to go over here, because when we change the light, we have to watch really carefully. All right, and this is what it looks like to change the light. Are you ready to change the light? Yeah. Okay. All right, we're gonna do it 4 times, or 5 times. All right. What do you see? Did you see it? Yeah, there was a little bit of smoke that came up. Did you guys see it? It's kind of hard because the wind is going in here pretty good. Let's try this one. We'll see if we can see the smoke, and the light changes and it spreads out to the whole room. Let's see if we can see this one. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, ready for the next one? All right, we're going to change the light. Oh, that was a little one. Did you see that one? All right, now I'm going to go to this side. And we're going to change. So we change the light of hope and peace and joy. And now we're going to spread the light of love all over the room. Ready? Oh, that was a good one. It's still going. Yeah, love has to get everywhere, doesn't it? All right, and now we're going to watch, and we're going to change our Christ light. We're going to let that story get all over the room. Did you see it? Yeah. You can smell it too. Yeah, you can use all your senses. So I love this story because every time we tell it is different. And you might have a favorite part of that story, and somebody else might have a different favorite part of that story. And that's what makes it so much fun to tell. So thank you for telling the story with me today, and thank you for being such good listeners in this last day before you go on break. Thank you.
Can we have another round of applause and some love for Pastor Allie? In a moment, I'm going to be asking our 8th graders to come out and present something, but I have a riddle for you. Shh. What is faster than the reindeer crossing the world? A speck of light. That's a great answer and true. My answer is Mrs. Blair when I've made a mistake on the dismissal announcement and she's on one side of the room and I'm on the other. If you are picking up your children after this chapel, I see nodding already. You know this maybe and I don't. Do not pick up in the classroom. However, do pick up on the blacktop. Take your child to your car and leave. Like corsairs they came. Sorry about that. So you don't have to get in your car and go through car line. You can get your children and get in your car. Capiche? All right. All right. Please welcome the 8th grade with their magical presentation of The Grinch.
We're the class of 2025, and we're going to be performing How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Mr. V, Mr. Weinstein, Mr. Ormsby, and anybody else who's helped us prepare this. Ho, ho, ho! When winter's chill wraps the earth so tight, and snowflakes dance upon the frosty air, a tale unfolds where hearts are full of spite, of Grinch who sought to steal Christmas fare. Though Whoville's cheer did ring through every street, the Grinch, with heart as cold as mountain snow, did scheme to make their joy and mirth complete by taking all their gifts. He'd make them go. But I, Santa bold, with laughter in my voice, will tell this tale with mirth and merry tone of how the Grinch, once dark, did come to choice to learn that love, not loot, will take the throne. So gather round, let Christmas now begin, as we speak, and Grinch's heart shall win.
Every Who down Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not.
The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason.
It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right.
It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight.
But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew.
All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys and then...
Oh, the noise, 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 noise.
That's one thing he hated.
The noise.
Noise!
Noise. Noise!
Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast.
And they'd feast.
And they'd feast.
And they'd feast.
Feast!
Feast.
And feast.
They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast.
which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least.
And then they did something he liked least of all.
And the Who's would start singing.
They'd sing.
And they'd sing.
And they'd sing.
Sing.
Sing. Sing.
And sing.
And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing,
The more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming, but how?
Then he got an idea.
An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat.
and he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found.
Did that stop the old Grinch?
No.
So he called his dog Max.
Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head.
Then he loaded some bags
And some old empty sacks.
On a ramshackle sleigh.
And he hitched up old Max.
Then the Grinch said,
Giddy up.
And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay snooze in their town.
all their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air.
All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without a care.
When he came to the first little house on the square,
This is stop number one.
The old Grinchy claws hissed.
And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.
Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch.
But if Santa could do it,
Then so could the Grinch.
He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
around the whole room, and he took every present.
Pop guns.
And bicycles!
roller skates,
Drums.
Tricycles.
Popcorn.
And plums.
And he stuffed them in bags.
Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox.
He took the Who's feast.
he took the Who pudding.
He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash.
Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash.
Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now I will stuff up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove.
When he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove.
He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who.
Little Cindy Lou Who!
The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who got out of bed for a cup of cold water.
She already said.
I already said.
She stared at the Grinch and said,
Is that you, Santa Claus? Why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? Why?
But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie.
He thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot.
The fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then bring it back here.
And his fit fooled the child.
Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed.
Good night, Santa Claus.
And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up.
Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire.
Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar.
On their walls he left nothing but some hooks and wire.
And then one speck of food that he left in that house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse.
Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses.
Leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses.
It was 1:15 dawn.
All the Who's still abed.
When he packed up his sled.
Packed it up with their presents.
The ribbons. The wrappings.
The tags.
And the tinsel. The trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up. Up the side of Mount Crumpet.
He rode with his load to the tip top to dump it.
Pooh pooh to the Who's.
He was grinchishly humming.
They're finding out now that I know Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow.
It started in low,
Then it started to grow.
but the sound wasn't sad.
Why, this sound sounded merry.
It couldn't be so.
But it was merry.
The Grinch popped his eyes.
Then he shook.
What he saw was a shocking surprise.
Every who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing.
Without any presents at all.
He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came.
Somehow or other, it came just the same.
And the Grinch with his Grinch feet, ice cold in the snow.
Stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore.
Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought,
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they said that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast.
And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
Merry Christmas!
Okay, guys, sing. 3, 2,
Let's hear it for your 8th grade performers.
I didn't bow.
All right. We're going to ask everyone to stand, and I think our 8th graders are going to stay up here and sing our closing song with us. And then remember, parents, you can pick your kids up on the blacktop. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a great holiday break.
Better watch out. You better not cry. Better not cry. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Hey, he's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Yeah, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. Better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Is it on?
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.